The last time we spoke, we were working on the jib crane, and today what I wanted to do is kind of talk a little bit about the pan and tilt. Although I've changed kind of my direction a little bit because of the expense, I've actually went down to just a pan. Now I did go over to just my local aluminum company and got some 1" by 2" with a, I think it was about an 1/8" wall, and cut 2 different pieces. Now here's the thing, you're gonna have to make the decision on how wide and how long you want this, because I don't know how large your piece is gonna be, how far your camera's gonna hang down. I've got a Canon XL1, so I need to have it a certain height and a certain distance away. After I cut and got them the way that I needed them, I actually had them welded. Now this is the part that goes up for the pan, and then for my tilt, it was the same exact kind of piece, but just a little shorter. Then I put a plate on it so that I could put a camera on, or really what I ended up deciding to do, since I wasn't going to have the pan or the tilt at that point, was to be able to take just a regular mount that we were using on the jib the last time, and I'm just mounting it on. This is really not an endorsement for Servo City, although it made it very easy to pick up some of these pieces. This is actually the pan, and the pan is a fairly large unit. Now when you actually purchase this, the choice of motors that go inside are really up to yourself. Now I took and purchased my first motor. It was 6 RPM, very slow. So what I ended up doing was, I'm just going to keep that one for the tilt when I get to that. However, I picked up a 51 RPM, and this is an 8:1 ratio. So it depends upon how fast you want your pan to move. I'm going to actually be shooting a lot of dance videos, so I really want that to go pretty fast. Now one of the things you're going to have to do, you have to assemble most of this, but then you also have to use these bullet heads, and you have to solder those on. So if you're not used to soldering, this may not be a project for you. I'm going to tell you right off the bat that this project cost a whole lot more than I really wanted to spend, and then you really have to make that determination whether it is worth putting this much time and effort into something and saving a little bit of money, but in the long run, am I really saving a lot? The motor and all the units for the pan, with the welding and all the other pieces, it's going to come right around $400. Now I still don't even have the tilt, although I will have a few pieces to that. So if you're not willing to take that kind of jump, then I'd probably back off. Now the other pieces, when I get to my tilt, it's probably going to be another $250. So it's fairly expensive. So you may have $650 in a pan and tilt. And one of the things that I would highly recommend is look for some of those units that may be a lot less. Now there's a couple things that made it a little bit more expensive, and I'll kind of go over those. One of the things that you're looking at here is a control mechanism that is for the pan and tilt. I actually had this little unit that it sits on fabricated, so it would sit right on there. Of course I did some little drilling to put the power in, and this does control both pan and tilt by just this little joystick here. Power then is then ran up through, and I will clean all this up once I get to that point, all the way up to the end. And there is a unit on here that was probably the most expensive piece. This is actually a speed controller. That speed controller, the power goes into it, then from these other ends of the bullet wires, those go into the motor. Now this speed unit will actually help in taking the load off the motor, providing constant power, but then again also what it does is the motors are 12 volt. However, if you come all the way down here at the end, the controller is a 6 volt. And so it does drop that down and convert that once that power gets in. Now once you get your motor in and you've decided how you're going to mount this, one of the things that you're going to have to do is you're going to have to fabricate some type of a piece that's going to connect to your jib. And this is really what I came up with, something very simple, just bolts on this unit here, and it'll make it easier for me to put things together. Okay, now I've attached both the bottom part onto this new plate, and this is an aluminum plate. If you go to some metal companies, they may have some scrap aluminum around. And these guys were great that I worked with. It was Kepler Steel in Muncie, Indiana. They just had some stuff, and I just kind of went to them and asked if they had what I needed, and they worked well. With this motor assembly, you're going to see really right here this shaft that goes down, and this gear work is screwed into this hub adapter. And then what happens is, and these are really small screws, or really they're hex nut end, and they're like 540 thread, so they're very small. Now the thing is I had a little concern about it, is this going to hold my 10 pound, 6 pound camera? And actually that mount there will hold up to 150 pounds dangling from that. Now it's just an easy mount onto the jib. As you can see right here, I've actually used some hex socket nuts. It has been bolted up underneath, and those have to be perfect. There's a center hole, and then there's those 4 around, and it really has to be perfect. So you're going to need some special tools. One of the things that I tried to do is I actually have a chop saw that then I put a metal blade on. You know what? It didn't work. So what I did is I just drew them out and took it back to the metal company that I was working with, and they went ahead and cut it so that it's straight. I've got the back piece here, and what I'm going to do is just run a bolt through the other end. So I've ran that bolt through and ran it to the other side here. Now when I finally get building the tilt, what I'll end up doing is mounting a motor on the side here, getting a sprocket similar to this, and just running it through, put a couple bearings in here, and then that will be my tilt. Now the other thing is I've got to buy another one of those boxes. That's where the amount of money comes in. Motors are about $25. Then you've got the little bullet connectors. Those are about $2.95. But that unit there is $100. So that is really the thing that kind of kills you on building this thing. So if I didn't have that, about another $100 and I'd have it done. All in all, it looks really good. Works really good. But that is it, and you've actually been watching DIY Video Equipment, and we'll have something else for you soon. Thanks, and have a great day.